Just like, okay, bet, like, this is just adding to my ammo for when I end it with you. So I made a list of all those girls' names, and I was like, honey, this finna come back to bite you in your ass. So, hey guys, it's your little Congolese ting, and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title already, I'm doing a story time about when I dumped my no-good ex. If that's what you even want to call him by the time you hear this whole entire story. Yeah, it's not a good story. It's definitely something from when I was younger and dumb. But I mean, hey, it's funny now, and I hope you guys can get as much comedy out of it as I do, because I was drinking that dumb bitch juice, bro. For real, for real. Anyway, let me just go ahead and get started. So this was in the summer of 2017. It was the summer between my senior year and my junior year. And let me just give you guys some background of how our relationship started. My friends, I had some friends who were seniors, and so they graduated during the time that everyone else were taking exams. So I obviously went to their graduation, and one of my friends had a graduation party. Her graduation party was a pool party, and she lived on another side of our city. So I didn't really know like some of the people she had invited, but they were all cool people, and like we were all able to hang out easily. And so while I was there, you know, there were some guys, and come on, like you're in high school, you flirt for fun. So, you know, I was being a little flirty little thing. Yeah, that's really all it was. I was just being a little flirt. And there's a group of guys specifically. And I would like go over and talk to them, be friendly, and then leave. Because like they weren't actually my friends. Why would I hang out with you when I'm celebrating my friend graduating? Like, I'm just going to entertain myself. So I just kind of went back and forth kind of most of the night. And out of the group of boys, there was this one specific guy. And he was like cool. He definitely, out of his whole entire friend group, I would say he was the best looking. So I entertained him the most and had the most back and forth. And by the end of the night, he had asked my phone number, and so he texted himself off of my phone. And I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry if the angle keeps changing. I feel like I'm just not in focus and I'm really paranoid. But anyway, so he had left before me, and he had told me to text him when I get home safe. I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, it's another little boy, so I didn't make it a big deal. But then the next day he had texted me basically being like, oh, like you didn't text me. So I was like, oh, might be. And basically from there we just kind of texted on and off. Skip until when I got out of school, because I had to take exams, and basically we ended up hanging out this one time. And I drove, because I drive my dad's car basically like it's my own. So I drove to get him because he didn't have a car, and little did I know he didn't have a license, but that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, so I went to go pick him up. He and a friend got in my car, and so that's where I messed up. I should have brought a friend, but whatever. I drove us to the pool, and from there, basically his friend just kind of hung out on his own, and it was just basically me and him just like hanging out in the water. And so it was just kind of like what you expect, like people just hanging out and just kind of being flirty. And that was really it. I didn't have a bad time. I was just like, oh, okay, you're like a decent person, Matt. So basically from there, we just kind of hung out on and off for maybe like a week or two. And then one night he started texting me kind of talking about like being his girl. And I shut that down, because that was one of the first flags. How dare you try and ask me out over text? Like, are we in middle school? No. So don't do that. Stop. We're older than that. So I shut it down. I said, this is a conversation to have in person. So basically that conversation ended, and maybe like the day after next we hung out again, and of course his friends were there, which is another flag, because we never hung out by ourselves and we never went on a date. But he asked me in person, he was like, so like about this, like you trying to, and it was a really bad attempt, and not even attempt, but like it was just a really bad way of asking someone out. But I said yeah, because in my mind, basically, this relationship was just for like summer entertainment. I'm a very realistic person, and he was technically my first boyfriend, even though we weren't really like boyfriend girlfriendy. But I was like, I already know your first boyfriend you don't fall in love with, like it's not gonna last, it's not your one true love. So I was really just going into it like entertainment, like constant text messages, like go ahead, like I'm not mad. So yeah, I agreed. And basically the rest of our relationship was just us hanging out with his friends, me driving us around, occasionally him driving us around, another issue. And so basically though, sometimes whenever we'd hang out, his phone would die, or like he had really bad service, or he just didn't have his phone bill paid, and so he can use his phone off of Wi-Fi, so he'd log into his Snapchat on my phone, which I didn't care about. Like, I'm not really like a checking type of girlfriend, so I was just like, okay, whatever. And if he forgot to log out, like, I would just log him out. I didn't care. But keep that in mind, because that's gonna come back. That's gonna come back to bite him real hard in the ass. But anyway, so basically, fast forward towards the end of our relationship, I already knew it wasn't gonna last by like for the first week of us dating. I knew it wasn't gonna last. I just really stuck around for, like I said, the entertainment. By the end of it, I was just kind of like sick of it. Even my friends, once in a while, my friends would come and hang out with us, but like my friends hated hanging out with him and his friends. And I should have known then too. That was another red flag. My friends hated it, and my friends are very similar to me. So I should have known. Like, I already didn't really like it that much, but if they didn't like it, I needed to cut it short, but whatever. So I did cheer for 4 years in high school, and during the summer we do this cheer camp at like a college. And so I knew once it got towards that part of the summer, I was gonna end it. So let me fast forward all the BS he put me through. Could definitely put a story time in here about how I almost got felony me my best friend because of him. So if you want to hear that story, leave a comment down below, like the video. So if this is one of my best doing videos, I'll definitely make another story time. But basically just a lot of super stupid situations I got into with him. And I was just really sick of it. I was ready to end it. And one of my guy friends, who is also going to come back towards the end of the story, he was very pro, like, you just need to end it. He understood why I was in the relationship, but like, I think he just knew I was so sick of it, and then he was just like, you just need to end it, like, it's done. That I was like, okay, yeah, you're right, like, I'm gonna end it, I just need to find the right time. So now, here's when it gets to me breaking up with him. It was basically one night, we were at the park for no reason at like 12 o'clock at night, and it was like him and his friends, and I was just there. His phone had died earlier, so he was logged into Snapchat on my phone, and he had forgotten to log out. And so that is a nice important detail to mention. But basically his friends were like all complaining about like somebody who had disrespected somebody and how they were gonna jump them. And in my mind, I was just kind of like, who's we? In the moment, the way they were talking about jumping that person, I was just kind of like, eesh. So that honestly also made me be like, I need to disassociate myself from these people. So while we're at the park and they were talking about jumping somebody, I was like, I already knew I was going to break up with him, and I was like, I need to disassociate myself from these people. So I basically was like, you know what, let's just see what's going on. So I went through his Snapchat because it was still logged in on my phone. I didn't really care what I was going to find because I wasn't really emotionally invested at all in our relationship. And so I was like, whatever. I just scrolled through it, and I found some real interesting stuff. Like, there was one girl who's being really flirty with, trying to talk about, like, oh, I'm trying to get to know you, da 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 da. And then they started having, like, a whole sexual conversation. And then there was another girl who had a whole baby, and she had to have been, like, 19, and he was 16. And she had a whole baby, but he was talking to her. And then there was, like, some other girls that he was, like, sending real, like, flirty messages to and compliments on their stories and, like, their pictures of themselves. And so I was just like, okay, bet, like, this is just adding to my ammo for when I end it with you. So I made a list of all those girls' names, and I was like, honey, this finna come back to bite you in your ass. So, and so basically I just went through it, and I just was like, all right, bet. So then once everyone started to leave the park, we started heading to my car, and so it was just me and him. And so the park that we were at, let me add some detail real quick, is like if his house was over here, the park was over here, and like right along the way is a really long highway. And he only knew maybe 2 people who lived there, but I don't even think they were there that night that we were in that neighborhood at that park. But I was like, no. I took my keys and I was like, I'm going home. And he was like, okay, we have to go get my cousin. And I was like, huh? He was like, we have to go get my cousin from work. excuse me? Do I look like public transportation? Do I look like the bus? No. Are you paying to fill up the gas in my tank enough? No. Okay, don't tell me what to do with my car. So I was like, no, I'm going home. This is my car. If I'm going home, I'm going home. And basically it was like 5 minutes of just going back and forth. I was talking in a calm tone, but he was yelling. And so I was like, no, I'm going home. And he was like, let's talk about it. And I said, no, I am going home. And he was like, how do you expect me to get home? And I told him, why don't you call Maria, Kathy, Katie, Mariana, Ashley, Elizabeth, like all these girls' names basically who were in his messages. And the moment I said that, when I tell you it was like a light switch, he was so mad. And I was like, in my mind, I was just like, LOL, like he thought I was really dumb. Like, you're not gonna have me looking stupid out here. Do you see who I am? Do you know me? No. I don't get made to look dumb. So basically, he was like, no, like, like we're gonna talk about it. So I unlocked my car where I could only get in the driver's seat, but basically, he managed whatever way to get into the passenger seat. So then basically we went into my car and he was just kind of going back and forth with me, and I was like, no, like it's over, get out of my car. Like, he was like, so are we breaking up? I was like, yes, I'm ending it, like get out of my car, this is my car, I don't have to drive you anywhere, get out. And so he was real mad, and then he just kind of started yelling and getting really aggressive. I've never been in a situation like that. I was really scared, honestly. I didn't know if I was going to get hit. Like, it was really intense. So I had called my guy friend who had told me to break up with him because I needed some type of witness in case something happened. So I FaceTimed him real slyly while he was still yelling at me. And I was like, don't hang up. Like, I just need you here, like, just to, in case anything happens. So fast forward from a lot of yelling, I was basically like, he was like, how do you expect me to get to my house? And I told him, walk, take a Uber, take a Lyft, take a cab, I don't care, but I am not taking you home. So then he basically steps on my car and he is just yelling. And it's 1 a.m. at this point, and this is like a little white neighborhood. He is yelling his head off and basically slams my door shut. And so in my mind, my first concern is, oh no, like, did my car door come off? But I was about to get out and check. I needed to get out of that situation. So I basically was like, nope, and I whipped out of that neighborhood as fast as I could with him stranded in the middle of the little road in front of the park at 1 a.m. and his phone was dead. I did not care. I had no interest about what was going to happen to him, how he got home, none of that. I was fed up. And so basically after that, there's like a whole part 2 to this whole entire breakup story that maybe if you guys are interested in, leave a comment down below, because there was a threat to have the cops called. My brothers had to get involved. It was a whole lot of mess about having a stolen identity. Yeah, it was a whole lot of mess. So if you guys are interested in hearing about that part of the whole entire breakup and the aftermath of it, leave a comment down below, and definitely like and share this video, because if this video does super well, then of course I'm gonna make a part 2 to it, and maybe even the part about almost getting a felony because of him. But yeah, so I left him there and I was just like chilling. I really didn't care. Of course I was scared that he was yelling in my ear, but at the same time, honey, I got a car. Honey, I can get home. You stuck in whatever little neighborhood down the highway from your house, stranded with a dead phone. I did not care at all. Yeah. That's really it. I'm not pressed. You're young, you're dumb, you do things. But yeah, I hope you guys definitely find that moment in my life kind of funny. So, but I'm going to go ahead and get ready for class, and I'm just going to leave you guys with this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!